Can you fly, Bobby? It's the Science Fiction Rating System, the podcast that aims to rank every science fiction film from 1 to infinity, 3 films at a time. My name is Sam Draper, and I'm joined as ever by Chris Redding.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, all right.
And Alex Humphrey.
Hello.
How are you, Alex?
I'm not bad. Yeah, this was a week.
Yes, so this week we went back to 1987. Almost exactly the 30th anniversary of one of our films.
Ooh.
And we saw 3 quite different films. We saw Robocop, Superman 4, and Batteries Not Included. Not much to say other than get into them.
Very different. Wow.
Very different sorts of films, yes.
Yeah.
Diverse list. That's what it's all about. Before we go any further, Facebook. We're on Facebook now, much to Chris's delight. And you can get on there, facebook.com/FSF rating system. Get on there and like us and follow us. Because that's
everywhere.
Where you can see what we're doing. And on Twitter and stuff. But the Facebook's the new one, so get there and get involved. And thanks to the people who've been getting in touch. We've got some good emails. Some that I've got to put into the future because they're about future episodes and things and ideas for stuff. But that's all good. It's all good. And a special thanks to Colin, who has actually commented on every single episode now.
Wow.
On the website.
Thanks, Colin.
But having
Colin
worked with
needs
him,
help.
I know he doesn't do an awful lot in the office. So
You ruined that
He's got
one.
time. Yeah, he's got time. So that's enough shout-outs. Let's get to the films. Our first film is the film whose anniversary was 7 days ago, July 24th, 1987, saw the release of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Directed by Sidney J. Furie, which is a pretty cool name.
Yep. And he made The Entity, which is an amazing film. I love that film.
I've not seen that.
Oh, brilliant. Really great horror film. Anyway, he also made The Ipcris File, which is also a good film.
Yes.
So,
yes,
what the fuck?
he did.
What the fuck, Sidney?
Yes. Written from a screenplay by Lawrence Connor and Mark Rosenthal. I think the telling thing is that there's a story credit for Christopher Reeve on there.
Yeah.
Never a good sign when someone's got too big for their, the boots and comes back. But anyway, Christopher Reeve's here, Gene Hackman's here, Margot Kidder's here, all the crew are here. What could possibly go wrong with the 4th Superman film? Chris, had you seen it before? You hadn't, you?
Well, I started watching. I realised I did remember certain bits of it.
You tried to blank it out of your mind. Is that what?
Well, there was just certain things that started to just ding in my head. Like
and what did you think
the
about
long nails of the bad guy. That was just yeah, that's very strange.
So, what was your overall impression?
Funny. It was a comedy, right?
Well.
Yeah, but was the comedy you were getting an intentional comedy?
No, it was unintentional.
Yeah, like were you laughing at Lenny Luthor's gags?
I was laughing at it all. There was a lot of good
Fucking
stuff.
Lenny.
The story's a bit crazy, I think.
Yeah.
So many plot holes. I mean,
Yeah,
oh
I
my
mean,
God.
it doesn't make sense on any level, really, does it? Scientific.
Yeah.
No, so if at home you couldn't bring yourself to watch it, basically, Superman he receives a letter from a schoolboy that convinces him to disarm the entire world's nuclear weapon arsenal. That's all it took, one letter from a schoolboy. And Lex Luthor's not impressed with this because... Well, no, he's impressed with it because he wants to then...
Loves it.
Re-weaponize it, and he has a monopoly on nuclear weapons. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much. Him and Jim Broadbent. What the hell?
I like
Jim
the way they
Broadbent?
break. Yeah,
It's
Jim
weird,
Broadbent.
weird that is, isn't it? Yeah.
I like the way how they break him out of prison. That's good. They just lock the guards in the car and drive it over
In the car.
cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A car that was ripped off by James Bond a few years later. That little manoeuvre of controlling it on a phone, wasn't it? That's 'Twinever Dies. Lenny Luthor, an awful character.
The the opening titles are some of the worst I've ever seen.
Yes, they were, weren't they?
Considering the very first Superman's titles were iconic, and I think that was these new ones look like a cheap video effect, and I think them original ones were either really expensive or they just took a lot more time over them.
I think that's the key to it. That the budget for the original film was $55 million in 1978.
Yeah.
Superman 4 had 17 million in 1987, so there's been quite a diminishing amount of a budget available. And it tells throughout the whole film, doesn't it? It's a very... It reminded me a bit of, do you remember the old awful Spider-Man and Hulk TV series?
Oh, yeah.
Had a bit of that about it,
didn't it?
a lot
like that, yeah.
Alex, you're the biggest comic book fan of the three of us.
I am. I love Marvel.
What do you think?
Well, I love Marvel. I'm not really bothered with DC apart from Batman, but I did watch all the Superman films at the cinema on my dad, so, like, I do love Christopher Reeve. I think the first three are really good. I think they're good films. I like that everyone's back. I think Margaret Kidder's a good, like a good Lois Lane. I think Gene Hackman's a good Lex Luthor. All the elements are there, but it's just such a terrible story, and they almost just waste Superman. You don't really. There's loads of stupid mucking around with Clark Kent and like that stupid kind of farcical. You know, they're dating. Oh, like it's Lois. Oh, it's Clark. It's Superman. Oh, it's Clark. That's just dumb. I mean, there's so many times in that film where normal people would have spotted him changing into Superman. Like so many times, he seems to change in public about 10 times.
Also, a thought that I've just remembered. I had when I was watching it in Superman 2. Doesn't Lois Lane find out he's Superman?
Yeah.
So why has she forgotten it?
Didn't he go back in time and turn the world round or something?
No, that's the first one. That is, isn't it?
But doesn't he seem to have a power in this where he kisses people and he wipes their memory? It's like a weird date rape.
Oh yes, yeah.
There is a weird date rape thing going on, yeah.
Because the way that bit when he's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill myself, Lois," and he jumps off the building with her, like in a murder-suicide pact, and it's like, "Not really, I'm Superman." It's like the most weird. It's not romantic. They're obviously trying to evoke that original weird poetry scene from the first one. It just everything they do is a failure. The bit in the Temple of Solitude. Those weird faces when they're like
betrayed.
Like it's so
Doesn't
weird.
a woman get
like,
dragged into space towards the end?
Yeah, how does she? Yeah,
she should be dead.
I was waiting for Chris's scientific analysis of all of this because in the museum, that hair is holding up a weight, right? So doesn't I don't know much about science, but doesn't that mean you can't simply cut through it with some scissors, right?
Yeah.
Well, things can have like tension, strength, and still be snappable.
Okay, all right. But don't you think that the robbery of the only hair from Superman's head from a museum that's in Metropolis would have made the Daily Planet's news desk?
Probably. Yeah.
How does he not know about
They're
it?
too busy printing the headline, Superman says drop dead to kid, which
I love that.
He didn't actually say, and it's pretty much slander.
Yeah. It predicts kind of modern newspapers. It predicts the Daily Mail, basically, doesn't it?
But it's still very, very old-fashioned in the way, like, you know, when they're on the tube.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is the London Underground, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
Loads of it's in Milton Keynes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because when he comes off and he goes like he speaks to the fireman and he goes, make sure everyone's aware that it's still the safest way to try. It's like there's still this very 1950s sort of way he speaks to people.
Yeah, because that's trying to invoke the comic, isn't it? The golden age of Superman. But he's just kind of lost in the rest.
And there are a lot of lines where he's talking to people, and it's not quite recorded right, or the way it is delivered is weird.
Yeah. All the Daily Planet shots, they've obviously just got like a mic somewhere up high, haven't they? And they've not done any ADR on it at all, because you can barely hear some of Lex Luthor's lines, like at the back of the bigger environments.
Luthor.
And also, how I didn't really understand how Nuclear Man worked, in that Gene Hackman could seem to pull the curtain and he lost all his power. But yet Superman, I don't know, it didn't, that made no sense. Like how...
Well, no, Superman explained, didn't he, that he had to go away and be ill, and at the end, when Lex Luthor's like, how did you do it? Well, I had time to think, and I worked out that his power might be coming from the sun. And then rather than just draw a curtain around him like you, I had to be Superman and push the moon in front of the sun. You could just put a curtain around him. You've already seen that, so a bit unnecessary, Superman. I think really the portrayal of Superman is the central problem for this, and that doesn't come across anywhere more clearly than in his relationship with Lois Lane and the new daughter of the Daily Planet owner, where he seems to be... The way I interpret it was that he was so bored of human life that he was just making things hard for himself, and just trying to get away with boning two people on the same date.
See, that would be an amazing plot. If that was the plot, that he was so bored of humanity.
Well,
because
what
that
else?
would make
what could the plot be?
sense.
Because why would he go on that date? He's so like fumbly as Clark Kent, but agrees to the date, and then the same night thinks, "Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get Lois to come round and see Superman as well."
Yeah. See, it could have gone down. It could have gone down an interesting line, like the plot line of Injustice, the beat 'em up, where Superman could have just taken control of the whole Earth because he's disarmed everyone, and he could have gone that weird, like, actually, I'm going to rule the planet because I know what's best for you.
We could rule the planet without getting rid of the nukes.
Well, yeah, he could, but that could have been the first step of him thinking, oh, you know what, I could probably rule this planet, and I'd probably do a good job. Everyone in the UN thinks I would. Like, that would have been an interesting plot line, but...
it just reminded me of this scene at the UN where that woman goes, hang on, Superman, you've got to have a sponsor to speak. And anyone sponsor him, and they all put their hands up, and they're like, oh, Superman.
Yeah. I love Lex Luthor explaining when he's got that tiny little, like, sewing kit in the bomb. So that's how you explain how he's got his outfit out of the sun. Oh.
Yes.
And why does he have Gene Hackman's voice?
Does he?
Yeah. He speaks in Gene Hackman's voice. Nuclear Man.
Oh, I didn't ever realise that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
What was wrong with Mark Pillow, which is the guy's name? What was wrong with Mark Pillow's voice?
It's probably like a Darth Vader situation, isn't it? He's probably like a weird accent or something. Yeah. Get rid of that.
From the West Country, and they thought, oh, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, it's a very odd, not good, and a very odd film. Which, I mean, the weird thing about it as well is that in some ways it mirrors the plot of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, in that the last sort of third of the film is a big fight, isn't it? Where they're sort of going around just fighting for ages.
Yeah, and that's not that bad. That's quite fun.
It's pretty boring though. The bit on the moon, they're like space slowly moving towards one another. A lot of yelping. And also when Nuclear Man starts attacking things, and Superman lets him like destroy loads of people, wind back some police cars, blow them up. There's a lot of stuff, and then eventually says, "No, that's enough. Come on and get in the lift with me. We're going up to the top floor."
It's just because he's got Randy for the woman, isn't it? He just sees the picture of her and suddenly decides that he's going to kidnap her. Yes. That seems to be the last straw. Like,
and they all know that as well. They all already know it's going to happen, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is strange.
But did you know why? Like you said about the budget, but do you know like that they lied and said the budget was more, and then they slashed it without telling anyone?
Oh right, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Canon. This was on Cracked about. There's an article about terrible films, why they're terrible. But Canon Films bought the rights, thought they would make loads of money, said it was a 30 million budget, got Christopher Reeve back on by giving him story credit and saying they'd make his next film, and then they slashed the budget without anyone knowing, and slowly people started to realise there was no money, but they didn't tell them there was no money. And they slashed the running time. There's 45 minutes of deleted scenes because they decided to make it shorter so they could play it more times in cinema and get more money. And they even at one point thought about making a whole nother film out of the deleted scenes because there was so much footage.
Wow.
So yeah, it's Christopher Reeve in his biography. Where's the quote? In his biography, he says, "Even if the story had been brilliant, I don't think we could ever have lived up to its expectations with this approach."
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more than the story. I think everything is really. I mean, Christopher Reeve's still doing Superman well, isn't he? And Gene Hackman's still good. I think he's the
best Superman.
Yeah, but it's not saying much, is it? Really?
No, it's not saying much. No, I guess not. No.
It did make me want to watch the original Superman, though, which I never thought I would because I don't really like Superman.
I actually went and watched a couple. Like
you did?
I watched the original, and I also watched the one that came out a few years ago, the Brandon Roth one. Yeah. No, the one before
Superman
that.
Returns. God, that's awful.
And actually, the action scenes in that are much better than the newer one. You know, the
new one was too dark, wasn't it?
He actually did Superman stuff in that film, and they don't do that anymore in Superman films.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah,
he just walks around looking like he's pissed off.
Yeah. I feel sorry for the actor really who plays him now because they've clearly decided Batman's the star. We don't really care about Superman. So I mean, he's dead, isn't he now? In the to come back to life in the next film.
I don't know. I think they gave shit
he's
away.
Dead. Yeah. Well, spoilers.
Well, no, he's definitely come back to life. But I mean, hopefully, I think I read a thing that he might come back as a more sort of Injustice sort of darker figure, which would be more.
Oh, that'd be good.
It would.
With a moustache, doesn't he? I've seen some photos with him on set with a moustache.
That's because Justice League's so bad, they're doing loads of reshoots, but he'd already started shooting Mission Impossible 6, 7, something like that.
Right.
And Paramount have refused to let him shave his moustache, so they're going to have to digitally remove his facial hair in all the reshoots of Justice League.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, how brilliant is that?
Wow. Is he had to paint it green or something, or blue, so it doesn't show up?
No, he's just like on set, like Chris says, with a big full-on moustache and beard.
It's really strange because he's in his Superman stuff and in Tash.
Yeah, you should Google a picture of Ben Affleck as well in the reshoots, because clearly didn't tell him about the reshoot, so he's basically lost any sort of fitness, and he looks all blotchy and I think he's clearly an alcoholic. He's all red-faced and fat on these pictures. It just they look hilarious.
You think they'd have it in their contracts now? Because there must be everything in these contracts, these modern contracts. Is don't hit the booze until we've fucking finished the film. Like, just give it a few months.
Yeah,
it would help them, surely.
Well, they've had a few months, I suppose. He probably thought he was in the clear, and he thought, right, 3 months.
I like the people who were running the other film with Cavill and said, no, you can't have his tash off. They were like, well, it's easier to stick a tash on than there is to remove it digitally. Yeah, but tough shit.
Yeah,
he's keeping his tash.
different film studio that don't care.
Yeah. They're like, sorry, Henry, you'll be in violation of your contract.
Yeah, you're stuck. All right, I don't think there's much more to say here, is there?
Lenny truly is awful, though, isn't it?
Lenny is absolutely awful.
Every scene with that is so... it's painful to watch those scenes. It's so unfunny.
They've dubbed on a lot of after him of just going oh, cool dude, like over the top of everything, haven't they?
I like how he gets dropped off at a young offenders school or something at the end, literally, and it's literally just a clip behind the ear going, oh, it's just been what was it, led astray, it's so 1950s, and it's way of dealing with it.
But Lex Luthor only gets 20 years, because he says, see you in 20 years. See you in 20 years for what? Arming nuclear missiles, making a super...
Attempted destruction of the world.
Of the world. 20 years. See you in 20 years.
And it's not even his first offence. This is the third time he's tried it.
Yeah. And he's not under any sort of maximum security. He's literally back in the quarry.
In a chain gang.
Yeah. But that was your mate, Matt McDonald, wasn't it? One of the policemen there. That was...
Yeah.
That was him again. Yeah.
Whoa, him again. Wow. He's made this list a few times.
He has. Yeah. He'll make it again when Somnus gets rated. Right, so talking of ratings, let's rate Superman 4. Chris, you can start. Where do you want to go?
I think 36, just above Theodore Rex.
Yeah, I can get with that. Alex?
I think below Theodore Rex, but only because there was some... They were terrible, but there was some interesting ideas in Theodore Rex, and Superman was a waste. Well, no, but Theodore Rex was an original terrible idea. Superman 4...
Is the clever idea you're thinking of a dinosaur who's a detective?
Yeah, this isn't an original idea competition. Okay. This is making a movie competition.
A competition.
Okay, all right. I'll change what I say. It's the fact that Theodore Rex was an original idea that was terrible. Superman was already they mucked up there was some basic things Superman could have done which would have made it less terrible, and they kind of was almost an anti-Superman film, so it's worse for me.
Yeah, but in its defence, Superman 3 was already awful, so it'd already gone very wrong, and they kind of... It's not entirely their fault that it lost its way. Superman was already in the the pits, wasn't it? Before.
This is still in the era when they didn't know when to knock someone on the head.
No, that's true.
And do a reboot.
Okay.
Well, Canon thought they would make a quick buck, and they basically just capsized themselves and went out of business, I think, from this. So
yes,
well done them.
I believe so.
But no, I'm happy for above Theodore. Theodore is terrible. So
cool.
Yeah.
So Superman 4: The Quest for Peace joins the list at number 36, and he'll be back many times more in the future. But I'm never troubling the top 20, I'd imagine. Not really, but we'll see. Anyway, let's have a quick break and return with our second film. we're back with our second film, which is also from 1987, but now we're hopping forward to Christmas time, and the kids want to feel good, so...
Hold on a minute.
Batteries not... What?
The kids want to feel good and they're watching Batteries Not In... okay, move on. Let's keep going.
That's a kids' film, isn't it?
Let's just... You keep with the intro and I'll wait in later.
All right, okay. Okay, so we're going to the kids... Maybe not a kids' film, Batteries Not Included, directed by Matthew Robbins, from a screenplay by Brad Bird, who, of course, will later go on to fame with The Simpsons and then direct WALL-E and things like that, The Incredibles. And, yes, sort of... I think conceived as a kind of spiritual successor to Cocoon, in the sense that this old dude, what's his name, Hume Cronin, had suddenly become weird famous, and Spielberg thought, yeah, let's have some little robots. So, Alex, how is this clearly children's film, not a children's film?
I remember this film. I'm sure I saw this film, and I remember it. And in my mind, what happens was old people, people get together, they're fighting against the house, their building being repossessed. Cute aliens turn up, hilarity ensues, and the aliens help them, and, all is right with the world. 20 minutes into this fucking film, it's the most depressing... You've got like, the Latino gang bullying everyone, sexually assaulting people, a pregnant woman, driving people out, victimising them, brutalising them. You've got a guy with Alzheimer's, a woman with Alzheimer's, and her husband trying to desperately deal with it every single day of his life, reliving the death of his only son, who she blames him for God's sake. And it literally, 20 minutes in, he prays to God, he prays to anyone for something to happen. Now, I don't see how any child would have got through that 20 minutes. They'd have walked out the set. I don't... As a child...
Alex...
But I don't remember...
Right? They want to dine, don't they? Yeah. And one of the baby robots gets in the burger.
Yeah.
And then...
walks around.
It walks around like a walking burger.
And so then it drops in the soup, and then a child would have just...
Yeah, I guess tonally, maybe
you need the darkness. You need the darkness for the comedy to work.
I do agree with you, Alex. I do. I mean, my child memory of this is that it used to upset me in the same way that Short Circuit did. And I think I said last week that there's a bit in this film and I used to cry as a kid every time. That's when they get smashed up.
Which bit was it?
When they did the axe, in the basement and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, and so, no, I do agree. Without a doubt, it is very dark for a kids' film at the start.
Really dark.
And it is weird that, like, it in my head it had just retained that bit, rather than the fun robots bit. But I think it's all the better for being that dark, isn't it? I think that because it's such a stupidly
this was from the era where
anyway.
Kids were not played down to. This was
totally.
This was when I remember kids shows on the TV, which were a lot darker and a lot more adult in the way darkness was portrayed. Yeah, and now it's kind of flipped. Everything's silly.
Well, this film done now would be just a 90 minutes of slapstick comedy, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
and it's better for the fact you have got this like core actual story.
In some
about
ways,
an old couple in
Pixar
trouble.
kind of still do the sadness and the darkness with they properly do that side of things.
Well,
not as dark as this, I don't think. Yeah.
They kind of let on a bit thick for me, Pixar do. It's a bit sort of like, look at this, be emotional.
Yeah, I just think tonally it's a very odd film, but maybe that's because I am an adult watching it now, and I'm imagining a child watching it and being but maybe I'm silly, because the fact is, when I was a child, like you said, when I was a child, I didn't remember all that stuff, I just remembered the fun bits. And the fact is, the robots are brilliant design, those bits are great, I just almost came out of it, I got to the end thinking, I wish there had been a sequel where there was more robots a little bit, and more, I don't know, just a little bit lighter. It was just a bit too heavy going.
I remember when I was a kid,
but...
I used to get truly confused, where, how she kept referring to the Latino guy as a son?
Yeah.
And
fair enough.
And sometimes he plays along with it in some scenes. Yeah. I was really confused. When I was a kid, because I didn't know what was going on at that. I found that part of the story confusing when I was a kid.
His character is Carlos, isn't it? He's particularly dark. The fact that he's living homeless, trying to get in this guy's good books. And the end of the film, he only gets to the hospital with the flowers, and he saved the life, hasn't he, of the woman. He got her out of the fire, didn't he?
Yeah, he did get her out of the fire. But
no one acknowledges that. They all storm past him. He's left just looking upset. Well, we're going to be happy. It's sort of.
And his
redemptive arc doesn't work, does it? You know,
No.
he's just left with no job.
He's a really odd. He's a really odd character. Weirdly, it shares a lot of the same themes as Robocop. I found. In that there's an evil corporation that wants to bulldoze down an old rundown part of town to build a giant skyscraper, and they're using gangsters to do it. Weirdly, it is quite a lot. There's quite a lot of the same themes. So obviously,
all three films, even in Superman, it does dabble slightly with the idea of big business taking over like institutions like the Fifth Estate, like being in charge of journalism, with the guy taking over and that sort of stuff. And I mean that's the late 80s, you know, the end of the age of excess, and like in the next film, the fact the bad guys snorting the cocaine. It's like Die Hard, isn't it? That whole thing of people are not they're at the end of that era of excess or whatever, and everyone's big spending and stuff, and it's starting to get a bit dark now, isn't it? And you know, people are starting to realise everything's not quite as good as it should be in a way. And that's why, and I think really that's what makes this period of film for me, like a lot of my favourite films are from this time, without a doubt. Like Die Hard is absolutely fantastic for the same reasons Robocop is. This less so. We're not doing Robocop yet. Anyway, I'm rambling, but basically, yes, no, I agree with you, and it's good, and I like that. Social,
you liked how crazy
stuff.
Weird it is. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. The performances are really good. It's an interesting film. It's got a heck of a lot going on in it, and I think it kind of it's quite brave, because that whole thing in it, when he says about the line about a miracle, like as soon as you start questioning a miracle, then it isn't a miracle anymore. It's almost like the film itself is saying, look, don't think about this too much, like get on with it, don't try and because at the end when I was writing my notes, I was like, right, what's the message here? This is pretty fucked up. Everyone abandoned them, God, the country, the society, everything, and then aliens sort it out, but then aliens fuck off, so what's the message? And I was like, no, hold on, I'm wrong, there isn't a message, you know, it's just what it is. So, you know, whoever came up with that bit of the film, well done. I don't know who it was out of the... Because it's written by 4 or 5 people, wasn't it? So, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's a message, because they're the good guys, aren't they? They're little, and they come together and they help out, even though they're little. And you find out that it doesn't matter about that, and we're dealing with a big corporation. That's the message.
Yeah.
When everyone works together.
But there's an irony in that they do manage, in the end, that final shot, they are still living in that lovely old building, but they are now in a completely gentrified area of town where no gangs, no one could afford to live there anymore because it's fucking lovely there. So they've actually managed to have their cake and eat it, because they're actually still living in the past, yet they're living in a completely sanitised future. So I'm not trying to overanalyse it, but it's actually quite a kind of sarcastic ending, really. Yeah. And if they sell that place, it's worth fucking billions, isn't it? Because now it's in the nicest part of town.
You know that his burger place is charging like $40 a burger there, because that's like a retro burger place.
Yeah, exactly.
The suits coming in from the 2 buildings, which are
totally
wedged right up to either side.
Yeah, paintings in the back by Mason, and burgers in the front, retro burgers in the front. My favourite bit of this film was when
Hume Cronin and the young guy, I can't remember his name now, Mason. When they go out on the town, and Hume's got his like big jacket on and his funny hat, acting all casual, walking down the road, and it's a bit sort of don't really buy that bit, but I absolutely loved it. Like that sort of just 80s, like this is what people look like going down the street. This guy would be doing this right now.
They probably did in New York in the 80s.
I don't think that guy in that diner is going out on the town with his like cool art friend.
New Yorkers are different. They really are.
Yeah. Do you mean, is it the bit when they're going searching for the little baby robots? Yeah. It's very odd. It's odd, that bit anyway.
I like the big. The guy doesn't speak. The
he's
guy.
good. Yes.
He's good. Yeah. Yes, and also, I mean, I agree with you. A modern film would have completely overdone that with him quoting the TV. That would have just been used.
Although, don't you think that's
so sickeningly?
I think that's funny that like those TV references, I can't remember them now, but they're almost lost to time, aren't they? And I bet people watching that now wouldn't even realise he was quoting TV, would they? Some of the things he says, it's such a product of when it was. You know, I bet like my niece wouldn't have a clue what he's. No. He just think he's insane. You know,
and also. The fact that he says batteries not included to a stillborn robot baby is pretty fucking dark, to be honest. Like, thank God he brings it. I remembered he brings it back to life. I was like, whoa, this is really like, if all you're going to do is bury this baby, this is a very bad bit of this film. It's It's odd. It's an odd film, but yeah, like you say, I'm sure Chris is right. I watched it differently when I was a child, and I'm sure I enjoyed it. And they're brilliant. The design of those robots is great. It is really great.
Yeah. Do you know anything more about those robots, Chris? You got any interesting facts about robots? I know you quite like.
No, I mean,
stuff,
I
don't you?
kind of see that. I don't know if the same people are involved, but I see them as like the same lineage as the Close Encounters. Big one.
Very similar, aren't they? Yeah.
Do you think they're trying to say, because you know when he looks at them with the microscope, you see the tiny lights inside?
Yeah.
Do you think they're implying that there are beings inside
It's a
there?
city,
Like,
You see,
that's what I thought.
It's like traffic going across.
Yeah,
it's
okay,
like
that's how I read it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most realistic alien we're going to see, because the likelihood is they're going to be like that, artificial.
Weird, yeah. That was a great shot as well. That shot of the city inside, that held really well, didn't it? It looked really good. I thought that.
And they are very alien, which is like Chris said, the idea of like Star Trek aliens, where they're basically blue women, like they're a very alien.
But
creation.
even a biological
alien
is probably less probable than that.
They do ruin the alien shot of it though, with the pratfalling around with the babies and stuff. Though that's not very alien behaviour, is it? Being a burger.
It's cute though.
Well, I don't know. They've given it a sort of a bird behaviour, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And I like all their crazy add-ons, like the little helicopter bit, and then when she's got like the mum's got the buzzsaw to cut the step, and it's kind of it's got kind of a green message as well, like recycling message, without really knowing it's got that message.
Again, like
there is an environmental message.
Yeah, better done than Superman 4.
A lot better done. Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's got a very similar feeling to me as E.T.
It's better than E.T. for me. I really don't like E.T., but I quite enjoy
I'd need to see E.T. again.
It's not as like cloyingly pathetic as E.T. E.T.'s got a real vibe of like, I hate E.T. The kids in E.T. are terrible. This wasn't as... there were no unbearable children in this. That's probably why, that's probably why I liked it, Let's come back to that theme yet again.
Did you cry? Did you feel sad again? Or were you alright?
No, I didn't. No. I'm dead inside these days, but... I did feel a bit on edge though. As I remember I sat with Lucy watching it, and I was like, "This is the bit coming up where it used to happen." Because I think I must have gone out the room or something when he goes towards the house with the axe. Because
I'm going for a beer.
It used to tear me up. Oh god!
But you're right. There's all the stuff with the old lady. It's like they're proper sad things there.
Oh yeah,
it's horrible.
It's a real
really horrible.
But like a real good nuanced portrayal of that as well, isn't it? Like, it's not like she's not comedy relief or anything.
No.
She, I mean, also the good thing about that film is that she is funny, but funny in herself, not because of her illness, is she? Which is a really hard balance to get, I think, in a film, isn't it?
Yeah, and she has. It is a journey, because in the end she lets go of the son, and they can move forward in that sense. Like there is an arc to it. Everyone has a nice arc. You know, the guy that like the boxer guy starts talking, so he's obviously connected with people. They are a couple. Mason and Marissa are a couple. Like this stuff does happen. At least everyone moves forwards in it.
There's just reminded me of another bit, which one of my favourite things. Robocop's got a bit of this as well. When the pregnant lady's husband comes back, or partner comes back, and he's like part of a mariachi band, and they're all playing the mariachi in the car as it pulls up, and then all he hears all night is them doing that. Like I love that kind of, just absurdist little bit there. You never see him.
And he just gets really drunk, doesn't he? And he's like, and then because even that scene where they're learning how to fly or whatever, then Mason walks in drunk. It's like, all birds leave the nest once they learn how to fly, and he just like runs. So even that has got this kind of quite like nasty like aftertaste to it. Like it works really well on lots of levels. It's definitely
good.
I fucking love diners as well.
Yeah,
you said that before. Yeah. Although they call it a cafe, but you're right, it's a diner.
It's a diner, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd say best sci-fi diner so far.
Indeed.
Have we had any others? Will we have any others?
We've got at least one in episode 2.
Oh yeah, Dex's Diner.
Dex's Diner.
I think there's one in a Superman film as well, isn't there? There is. Doesn't he?
there's a
When
lot
he
of films
loses
with
his
diners
powers
in.
in one of them, he goes to a diner and gets.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
He gets beaten up.
And Thor's definitely in a diner at some point.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's got a diner in it. Yeah.
Anyway, we're not doing the diner rating system, not yet. Anyway, that's
Oh, I wish.
that's your spin-off you can do.
Yeah.
Right, let's
I'd
rate
have eggs
it.
sunny side up.
I'm going to go in for this one at. I'm going to say number 19. Above Rise of Planet Apes, below Paprika. Anyone got an advance on that? Chris?
I would put it at number 8. No, number 7.
8?
7. Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So above Guardians of the Galaxy, below
It's a
Fifth
really good quality movie. This is like one of them ones where if you had kids, I'd make sure they'd see this.
Oh, I have a kid, and I'm not ever making him watch this.
Well, each,
unless
each
I'm
to
wrong
their
about
own,
how I watched
each
it.
their
But yeah.
own, but
Yeah.
I think you need the darkness because that's all
Yeah.
part of it.
But
I
it
think
is
maybe you're right.
It's just a little sci-fi story in a day, isn't it? It's nothing particularly groundbreaking.
All sci-fi stories are little sci-fi stories, but this
No, they're
is
not. No, they're not.
well.
Alex, what do you think?
I reject your
Hang
thing
on,
that this doesn't have
before we
big
get into it,
themes.
Alex, where are you going to put it?
I would say lower. I'm more where you say. I think around where you say is about right. You know, like around Paprika. Yeah, Planet. I think it's better than Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say. Well, I think I'm more where you are with it. I think it's good. But yeah, I don't think it's mind blowing.
Actually,
like,
I forgot Pacific Rim was higher than. It's better than Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Is it better than Lost World?
No, it's not better than Lost World. Come on,
Okay.
Chris. It's not better than Lost World, is it?
You know, this is difficult, this whole thing.
It's not better than Lost World.
We've got him on the dinosaur.
If I was
dinosaur
given the
claws.
choice of the two, I'd
Yeah.
watch Lost World.
Yeah.
Because
So under Lost World, then.
dinos trump everything for me. But I think a more important film would probably be this one. But yeah.
Do you think? But no, that's my argument against it. Though I don't think it's important. I think it's very good, and I think it is good at what it does. But I don't think it is important.
No, I don't think it's that important.
You know what I mean? In a way that, like,
Well, I don't think.
I don't know. Maybe the next film maybe is more that sort of way.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so let's. So that's
Okay,
number
then.
16.
So we
Not a
can
bad
agree on
showing.
that, yeah. Okay.
Batteries not included. Okay, which leaves us with one more film to discuss. We've saved the biggie for last, and that is Robocop. Join us in a minute. And we're back with our third and final film. Paul Verhoeven's first Hollywood classic, maybe. We haven't decided yet, have we? Robocop, written by Edward Neumeier and Michael Miner. A film that we'd all seen, without a doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
I had not seen it in quite a while, and was pleasantly surprised, to be honest. Like, I really enjoyed it. The bit when I was a kid, I struggled with the violence because it's quite violent, and it used to, the bit when the toxic waste kills the guy at the end
Oh yeah.
disturbed
that's
me a
great.
little.
Yeah.
But no, I think I always liked it, and on this viewing, it seemed more sort of relevant to where we are now as a society. Like the satire of it seemed very on point and kind of ahead of itself in a way. The idea of a corporation taking over Detroit and sort of privatising the police force. And yeah, the whole thing from start to finish was captivating, and I think Robocop is ruined by the fact that there's no competent sequels, and there's a lot of sequels, and there's a TV series, and there's a cartoon, and they're all awful. And it was nice to go back to the original one, and the only thing that I was missing was the guy getting electrocuted on the car, which is Robocop 2, I think, isn't it? But I always remember that being this one. But no, start to finish, absolutely loved it. Chris, what was you've seen it before, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I I like it for all them reasons that you said, and I found the most troubling bit for me when I was a kid was the Ed 209 kill at the beginning.
It's brilliant. Yeah,
just because it was so like
extreme.
Yeah,
it wasn't even the violence of it; it was like how it went wrong.
Yes,
it was like,
and how little they give a shit that it's gone wrong as well.
Yeah, because it's so. I don't know if you remember how shit computers were at that time.
Yeah.
It's like that often happened when you tried to print something out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would ask you to put the gun down, and you put the gun down, and then it goes, put the gun down.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck. And it's just that the way that is shown really hits the nail on the head. Yeah. So that stuck with me, that scene.
Yeah. Alex, what was the scene that scared you as a child, or were you just too hard? I
remember that melting flesh bit quite vividly. I always remembered that. I remember him being blown apart, like when he'd blow his hand off and then just riddle him with bullets. Weirdly, the biggest association I had with my childhood was, the rape scene where he shoots through the legs, that bit, and the facial recognition bit. It reminded me so much of my ZX Spectrum Robocop game that I had, where they were bits in the game where you had the guy was like running back and forth, and you had to target just over his shoulder and shoot the guy's shoulder, and also you had to facial recognition bit. And I just had these crazy like flashbacks to playing that Spectrum game, which I loved, which there's a YouTube video of. The music is amazing for it. But no, this film is just, I think it's pretty much perfect. Like, I think, everything that we talked about with Starship Troopers, he does kind of so many of those things in this, all the fake news and the fake adverts and the satire, but just the high action, and you can view it just as a really cool film about a robot policeman that just kicks ass, or you can just see there's so many layers of like, it's just so much in it. Like, and I think the Peter Weller's a really good performance. I think it's really tragic. No, I think it's really tragic. The bit when he's, that bit that line at the end where she's like, "Oh, I'm pretty shot up," and he's like, "They'll fix you. They fix everything." Like, that line, I just think that's such a great line. Like,
I think the line's good. I don't think Paul Weller's performance is good at all. I don't.
Oh,
I think he's the weak link.
No,
I kind of see why.
I think it kind of aids the character of Robocop, because I haven't seen him in anything else, and do you know what I mean? It's like that face was only ever linked with that Robocop thing for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So
he was in Naked Lunch.
In some ways, that makes that character more real.
Yeah,
because
Well, they were talking about having Schwarzenegger or Rutger Hauer, but both were too physically big for the suit.
Yeah,
so they had to go with someone smaller, and that's because the suit was so big. They had to go with someone a lot lither.
And Rutger Hauer's because the plot came from them reversing Blade Runner, basically, didn't it? So Blade Runner, man chases robot. This was robot chases man, and obviously Rutger Hauer is the robot in that. Which, I mean, that alone tells you that obviously they're not doing the people who wrote this film, that they're referencing Blade Runner. But I mean, the thing that makes it a classic is the Verhoeven bit for me. It's the satire, the TV stuff, that I'll buy that for $1. The cuts, in the way that they lived it, a very similar style of just cutting randomly to TV and the bits of that kind of stuff, and that everything, all the car commercials, the absurd hostage situation where he's explaining the features of the car to him. Which of course then comes back later in the thing.
That sequence as well. I mean, I think that sequence where after he's dead, where you see constantly him booting up, and you see like the process of them building him, and they're like, "Oh, we saved the arm." He's like, "What? No, cut his arm off." Like, I think that not only is it a brilliant piece of direction, it's a brilliant piece of cinema, and also what it does is it gets you in the head of that character, which is quite a hard character to be in the head of. Like, to understand that character is quite difficult, but you are like it's so short, it's so simple, but it works so well, and like just the way it jumps in time, and when it's New Year's Eve, and when you finally see him walking, you see that flash of him on the camera, and then you get the reveal as he walks into the police station. It's just like it's brilliant direction. Like, I think it's you know,
Yeah, they handle it really well. Yeah, the reveal.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Like, and just I mean, like this Starship Troopers, and you think as well, like Total Recall. You know, Total Recall's not maybe as good.
Do you think this is better than Starship Troopers?
Yes, definitely for me.
100, yeah, hell yeah.
See,
Do you, Chris?
I don't know.
Why
No,
not?
totally.
What's better about Starship Troopers?
I don't know. I think the subject matter's better in Starship Troopers for me, but
Right. Yeah.
but otherwise, I mean, they do similar things, don't they? But they're both very good.
Similar themes. I think Robocop wins for me because it's a more focused film, and it seems to. I think Starship Troopers is more uneven to me. I still like it, but it's not quite as consistently good. Whereas this, you're sort of enthralled from start to finish. It's not that long either, is it? It's quite
no,
an
it's
hour
punchy.
40. It moves quite well, and I mean the main thing for me, like Miguel Ferrer, his character, he's just absolutely superb in it. Like just like reveling as the villain, and so quotable. You know, you're a bad motherfucker and all that, and everything, and just his whole performance is so 80s coke fiend evil businessman, isn't it? You know, he's the Michael Douglas in Wall Street, that kind of type character.
Yeah.
But he throws himself into it so well.
It manages, like, I think it's quite like Scarface moves from like quote line to like classic scene to quote line to classic scene. Like, I think this moves, like, there are very few bits in it I wasn't like, oh my god, yeah, I remember this. Oh my god, oh yeah, that bit. Oh, like, it moves along, and lot of the scenes are pretty much like they stand on their own as being like little standout little vignettes, like really great. And there's some really good set pieces, like that giant cannon gun, and there's so many good. And it's very, 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 very influential. Like it, although it obviously references things and it took from things, it then became completely something that everyone borrowed from. Even up to, like, I would say Ghost in the Shell kind of has
totally.
Scarlett Johansson Ghost in the Shell has elements of Robocop in it. You know, that they've, you know, even till now they're still kind of getting there with that. You're still trying to take.
Have you seen the remake?
Yes.
What do you think?
I didn't despise it.
Me neither. I thought I was going to hate it more.
Yeah, I had it's the very, very end. There was a thing I wanted to happen that didn't happen that I thought would have made it a better film. But I don't know if we can talk about it if it's like massive spoilers. But
it's funny though. Like, even though it's so many years after, and they redesigned him as the the look of the robot, I still prefer that old design.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely. Yeah.
And it's funny how that's iconic in design now. That original Robocop.
Yeah.
Like, you could show.
I think that as well is that's a product of our age, isn't it? Like, I'll always take boxy 80s metal over anything else, really. You know, that look of that sort of chunky stuff. It's because that's, you know.
But in some ways, a lot of millennials would as well, because it's still that design is really good.
Yeah.
Like,
but it was it's Rob Bottin, the guy that did the stuff from The Thing. He did all the effects in The Thing, and I read that basically his original design. He put it out there, and then they argued, and Verhoeven was like, no, I don't want it like that, and no, and they argued for ages, and in the end, they returned back to his original design, and everyone was like, oh, yeah, actually, that was the best. So it's pretty much how he envisioned it in the first place. So, yeah, the guy knows what he's doing.
It could have so easily looked like a guy in a suit, but it doesn't. Yeah. It's very well made.
Especially when he takes his hat off, and they do that really well, don't they? The grafted on face to the back, it looks really good.
But when they show, when they say they're going to put an arm on him and they wheel in like the animatronic arm, that's a really good piece of a puppetry arm, whatever you call it, animatronic arm.
Yeah.
Because that looks really good.
Yeah. They borrowed it from
they couldn't do better than that now. Well, they do a CG now, but it's good.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's good how. Well, I know they borrowed from Judge Dredd, but the fact that he pretty much wears the mask the majority of the time. It's not like as soon as he can possibly do it, he takes the mask off so you can see it's famous person, insert famous person name here. You know, I think that's why, maybe Peter Weller was a better casting because he wasn't known. If it had been a star who was a better actor, maybe,
it'd be like
had to have seen their face. Yeah.
Carrying his hat around in Judge Dredd, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see that? They've got like robo things in Dubai, I think it is, and one committed suicide like 2 weeks ago. He just drove into a lake.
What?
It's like these. It's like a robot. Like it's supposed to be security, stroke, information. They're like man hype, and they roll around.
Yeah.
And I think it's Dubai or somewhere. But basically, there's just an image of one, and it's just literally it saw a pond and just drove into it.
Oh my god, that's like Robocop 2 when they're trying to recreate, and there's that one that just pulls its own head off and just starts screaming. That's the bit I remember from that.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's really good.
They all die in 2, don't they? Isn't that the thing?
In the beginning, yeah, they're just trying to recreate the experiment, aren't they? And it just keeps
they all
going
kill
horribly wrong.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and in 3 flies, and that's why it's terrible.
Yes. There's one bad CG, well,
It's in
effect
Washington,
scene in
this
this.
thing.
You know when he fires the I can't remember the bad guy's name out the window at the end, and he's like got his really weird long arms.
Yeah.
Oh,
That shot as he falls towards the ground.
Yeah, it's all flapping.
It's
Like,
strange.
yeah. No, I remember that bit. Yeah, that was the only bit where it looks a bit wonky. Yeah, no.
Yeah, slightly unfortunate, that bit.
But that's not
the
bad.
animation of Ed 209 is a bit dodgy as well.
Yeah, that's dated. Yeah. Definitely.
But all you'd need to do is kind of, George Lucas it up a bit, go back, just clean up some CGI there. And
Well, there is a 4K remaster, isn't there? Which I haven't seen, but I'm tempted to get now.
Yeah,
that.
hell yeah, I'd buy that for $1.
But I think that's also the X-rated version that didn't get released as well. I think, which God knows what happens in that because it's already pretty graphic already, isn't it? To be honest. Yeah. Okay, so all positive on Robocop, I think.
Yes.
Alex, you've not started yet. Where do you want Robocop to go?
Number 2.
Chris?
I'd take 2 to knock Ghost in the Shell down, but I normally would have said 4. I would have put it just underneath Starship Troopers.
I agree. I think Starship Troopers is great, Chris, but a lot of things Starship Troopers does comes from Robocop. He got those that media stuff, creating that world.
That's neither one way or the other.
Oh, I just think, I don't know. Okay,
I think it's done better in Robocop though. I think it's a stronger, more coherent vision in Robocop, personally. But I don't think it's better than Ghost in the Shell.
It's on Chris.
I just
then.
don't.
Yeah, it is better than Ghost in the Shell.
There you go, number 2.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So
That's good.
the top of the list is troubled for the first time in quite a while.
Yeah. Well, Verhoeven's did pretty well. God, he's 2 and 4. That's pretty impressive.
Not dissimilar to Ghost in the Shell, actually, is it?
Similar themes, yep. Definitely similar stuff going on. I think that'll be the end of Verhoeven's run at the top of the charts, won't it, though?
Yeah. I'm sure we'll go to Total Recall at some point, but I don't know.
Yeah, but Total Recall is not a classic. It's an alright film, but it's not a top 10
Get your
science
reach
fiction
to the
film.
bottom of the list.
Yeah. and Hollow Man was bloody awful, so...
Oh, God, yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, no, that is terrible.
Okay, good. So that is 3 more films added in. We've now got 42 films in the list. We're fast approaching the 50th film. Let's just recap. So we had our lowest new entry was Superman 4 at number 38. At number 17, Batteries Not Included. At number 2, Robocop. Not if you'd like to get in touch. First of all, next week. What's happening next week? Well,
next week is all about imposters.
What kind of imposters?
Maybe there are some imposters amongst us. Maybe you've been found out.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
That was definitely Chris. Next week, science fiction imposters. Have a think about examples of that. Films where all is not what it seems. We'll be back next week to preview those films and watch the trailers. But for now, get on Facebook and like us. Get on Twitter, SF Rating System, follow us.
Yeah, Chris, like us on Facebook.
Yeah, Chris. Get to the website where you can comment. Instagram, where you can see pictures occasionally. We're all over the place.
Have you linked up the Instagram with the Facebook? So whatever you put on
Nope.
Instagram goes on Facebook?
No.
You need to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Can you do it?
You can do it.
No.
I don't know
can
whether
you
I can
do it?
I don't. Oh.
No, you can. You admin on both.
Okay, I'll try and do that.
He doesn't even like us. He's not going to do that.
No, he doesn't. Okay. For now, that's it, I think. So for the science fiction rating system, I've been Sam Draper.
Oh, it's normally
See
Chris
you-
second.
oh,
I've been
sorry.
Alex Humphrey.
I've been Chris Redding.
And they're definitely both imposters because
Yes.
neither of them knew the end of the show. Good night.
Bye.